Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Sosbans and Sidesteps podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, the one and only Mr. HG Rugby, New John, and surprise guest, it's Birthday Pringle.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. How are we?
Good,
My
mate.
head's spinning, mate. I can't remember the last time we've had this many people on one Zoom call.
I know, it's massive.
It's going to be hard to keep track of, but we'll make it work. Happy birthday, Pringle.
Thank you. I've had to explain to so many people why Pringle is a thing now.
I don't even know why Pringle's a thing, and to be honest, I don't want to know. Although, Pringle offshoots points. When you go to Champions Cup games as media, you get a free tube of Champions Cup branded Pringles.
Where is it?
I want them.
I can't give it, mate. You're in Scotland. I couldn't give you one, even if I wanted to.
No, I want to see it.
I think the
It's
girlfriend
even
might have. I think she's not my girlfriend anymore. She's my fiance. But I think she's had him. But I do have
out
this.
the difference. Come on. Oh, did you play Zebra?
No, it's an Investec Zebra.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, you're not seeing at the Investec.
but-
Their logo is a zebra.
No.
Is
You
it?
don't know this.
It's the
And you've seen-
national. It's the national animal of the country of Investec.
And
that
when
makes sense.
you're not seen in the Champions Cup finals when they bring a big plastic zebra onto the pitch and the players always climb on top of them.
No.
I think you've dreamt this. This doesn't sound.
It's
this
branded
doesn't sound real.
Investec. I have made this up. I found the only 3 people in the whole fucking world who have never heard of the Investec
You know
zebra.
what? I think it's pretty funny. He's got like an Investec sticker sort of wrapped around it as though he's printed it off.
I need to go back and watch something now because in some games they have Land Rover or something sponsoring it, and they have a
Yeah.
Land Rover bring on the ball. Do they
And
bring
shoot-
a zebra bring on the ball? Like, is that,
Surely
that'd be
That'd
quite
be an
cool.
idea.
Pringle, surely you've been in the crowd at the park where they've shot zebras, little fluffy zebras from a cannon. Okay, now that I'm saying this out loud, it does sound made up.
What?
I was really worried where you said you've been in the
You know,
crowd
like
where
a
they've shot
t-shirt cannon.
zebras. That was
Like a t-shirt cannon. They put like loads of mini fluffy zebras inside it and shoot them into the crowd.
No, it's Cochin, I guess, in Pascal, isn't it?
I've-
Shoot the Cochins in.
Ah,
Do we even have cannons? I've never.
they bring the cannons. Investec bring their own cannons.
I've been to a fair few Champions Cup games. We are going back a while, but I've never. Was
Well,
it even Investec back then?
I've been to every home one this season. I have not seen one.
This is totally made up. And,
He's dreamt this.
You know what? It's because the first point of call that he's put on the agenda is it's a nice segue into this because he just spoke about how he was press at an Investec game, and he sort of had a rather fun, maybe embarrassing moment. I'm not sure really which one it was on the weekend. So he wants to talk about how he met well, he's not that famous, but a coach. So do you want to take it away, my friend, when you met him?
Yeah. So it got to the end of the game, and I was at Harlequins, and I'd met loads of people that I knew from online, people I'd podcast with, people I respect and admire. And one of those people was a guy called Sam Roberts, so I think has done pro commentary, and he was hosting the like the hospitality up at the back. So he was doing like speaking and stuff before and after the game. And after the game's finished, all of the rich people of Richmond and Twickenham were tucking into their sausage and mash or whatever it was they were eating in hospitality.
The zebras.
And there's zebra steaks, and I spot Sam. I'm outside. It's freezing cold. So I spot Sam. I go up the steps. I go inside and I have a bit of a chat with him. And we get to the end of the chat, and Sam goes, "All right, I've got to go because I'm meeting Toby Booth, who is currently an assistant coach at Harlequins." And right as he said that, I got a text saying, "The Ospreys have mucked it in Parma." So I said, if you see, what I was going to say was, if you see Toby Booth, tell him from me that the Ospreys mucked it. And I got halfway through saying it. I said, if you see Toby Booth, tell him from me. And Sam goes, "He's behind you." And it's a proper spin. See him. He's looking at me like that. And I'm like, and I properly bottled it. I'm like, hello, Toby. Like, nice to meet you. I shook his hand. I was like, nice to meet you. Bye. And I
Very
just
on
basically
It's
ran
like something
away.
from a panto, though.
Oh, it was hilarious. And Sam messaged me after, just like, "What were you going to say?" And I told him what I was going to say. He's like, "To be fair, I thought it was going to be worse." So yeah. So unfortunately, Toby Booth, as far as I'm aware, is unaware of what happened to the Ospreys out in Parma. But luckily, most people are unaware because the game wasn't on TV. So
Yeah, well, enough of that. We don't need to discuss anyone that's not important. There's only one team that's important, and that is the Scarlets.
oh, sorry.
Scarlets. Because it's amazing. I'm really amazed at how shit we are right now. That first half, oh my god! And I'm saying this now, we will get onto the second half, and his performance did improve, but that was the worst 40 minutes of rugby from a 10 I have seen in a very long time, maybe ever. Oh, I don't know what to say about Joe. Like Joe Hawkins, obviously. It was
He
just
kicked well.
He dead balls, yeah. He can kick the touch, he can kick a goal.
No, kick a goal. He didn't miss one of them. Which,
no, good,
you know,
good goal kicking display.
If no one's running at him,
he's
fantastic 10.
But it was obviously who you've clipped up all his touches for us to look at, and by us I mean us in this group. I don't think you're going to be able to put that on.
No, get a copyright strike if we put it up.
Oh damn it! Too early.
But I did. Me and John both watched the game back today. Not together, unfortunately. But we did
watch it together.
Watch the game back. And I don't know how you felt about it, John. Kind of watching it back a second time in a weird way made me feel less bad because I was so filled with hate and anger the first time that I watched it that watching it the second time, I was kind of like, oh, that was okay, I guess, for some things.
Yeah, I think because when I was watching it the first time, I couldn't bring myself to believe, even when we were comfortably in the lead, I suppose, by more than a score. I still, the entire time, was thinking, well, we're going to find a way to throw this somehow. It feels like it's coming. And I think that level of anger stopped me from enjoying the game in any like meaningful way. But yeah, looking back at it today, it felt much is maybe a bit strong. It felt better. Yeah, and especially like we've already mentioned, Hawkins will probably be on him a little bit today. But I thought, I mean, we're going to say that the second half or the beginning of the second half was really fun for us to watch as fans. And I think it's, if you take it and compare it to the opening 20 of each half is really interesting because Hawkins is really integral to a lot of what goes right in the opening 20 of the second. And unfortunately, he is incredibly integral to a lot of things that go wrong in the opening 20 of the first half. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, I guess. But in not just him, Archie Hughes had an absolutely fantastic game. I think, Hugh, you've got stats on him as well, haven't you?
Yes, you caught me off guard. But yes, I agree that Archie Hughes, this is probably his best game for the Scarlets. And he was, when things started to go really, really badly, I think he was the guy who said, boys, I'm not going down like this. He did unfortunately go down like all the rest of us, but I'll share my screen because that's a functionality that we have.
Yes, we do.
He had in this game, Archie Hughes, the Falcon, had 80 minutes, 62 passes, 42 meters, 12 kicks, 10 carries, 2 offloads, 1 turnover, 1. I think we won 2 ruck turnovers in this game, and Archie Hughes won 1 of them. And watching the game back as well, he had 2 try-saving tackles. Two not just standing in the way type tackles, 2 proper tackles. 100% tackle success, so 1 try assist, 1 try, and 0 penalties conceded. Yes, I was very happy about Archie's performance. And what the stats don't show as well is that his box kicking was absolutely sublime. It was like him and Tommy Rog were sharing the same mind, and it really, unfortunately, put into sharp contrast the box kicking that we've seen from Gareth Davis so far this season. It just in terms of the way that Tommy Rog chased them, Because when Gareth Davis has been box kicking, as we've said on previous podcasts, Tony Roger almost throws his arms up in the air like, what the hell do you want me to do about that? But with this, he didn't reclaim many, but he contested them all, and it was just good. It was just a very, very good box kicking display, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He
Well-
did have one that went backwards though. Not every box kick he did was.
It
can't
didn't
all
go
be
backwards. The
winners.
first one went not as far forwards as maybe he planned.
There was one that went diagonally about 5 meters or so, but this is nitpicking. But yeah,
But we
Archie
did
was
get the ball
brilliant.
back from that one.
Yeah, we did.
My-
Archie was brilliant. Yeah, go on, Pringle, get talking.
My perspective though, because I didn't watch the game back, right? I watched it there live. He didn't kick as much after the first when we were, no pun intended, shit. He stopped kicking because
He's back.
Archie was being booed for box kicking. Did that come across?
There was one moment when Fletcher Anderson, it was off a line out. Fletcher cut an angle, and
Yeah.
he must have got like 15 meters over the gain line. And Archie was there. He was bang on the rack. He could have either kicked it in behind or moved it fast. But we built a caterpillar, so that I could booing, and understandably.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, no, there was a few occasions where we were like, why do we keep kicking the ball away? Because there was times where we kept ball in hand and we had tries out of it. I think that's what people's frustrations are, like at the park basically, is why I felt anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of importance put on box kicking, and rightly so.
But at the right time though.
Yes, you don't want
That
to
Fletcher Anderson break shouldn't have been the kick. That should have been we were on the front foot.
But yeah, the two choices you had, but there was obviously kick it straight behind instantly or move it at least another phase.
Yeah.
But, box kicking is a very vital part of the game now, and especially if you're within probably 40 meters of your line, you would more or less kick is your only option. And then even in the middle part of the field, you'll have one or two phases. You don't go anywhere. Let's kick to compete. Let's try and stretch our defense and make it go again. So, there is obviously a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a case of, I think, our decision making on when to make those kicks is a bit awry. And then obviously the quality of them. Cowdog out there with his box kicking has never been a massive strength or even, too much of a plus point for him. He is more broken play, his actual range of passing, his ability, in and around the field. So that is something that we are seeing now with Archie. Like I said, nitpicking, there was a couple of box kicks that weren't, ideal. But other than that, we were competing, and they were, for the most part, good length, and they got us in the right position. It's just unfortunate, we didn't get as much retention from them to really do anything. I mean, one thing I liked about Archie is when he did start, making those snipes, picking the tempo up, the quick tap, those moments. That's what we saw from Archie when he was younger with the Quins, when he was with Wales 20s, that running threat, like we've seen from Gareth Davis. We know Archie has that, and when he started bringing that to the game and picking that tempo up, that's when we started to look like we might do a bit of damage.
That's the fastest our ruck speed has been all season. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I was, I've got it here somewhere. I was looking at the ruck speed in the last few games, and Dragons game aside, because for all the terrible things that happened in that game, and I know because I saw him live, it was horrible. But the ruck speed for 0 to 3 seconds, 63% of rucks in that game were 0 to 3 seconds. In this game, we had 57, but then Ospreys was 49%, Cardiff was 34%, UBB was 36%.
36.
Yeah, man. So the pace was really easy to see. But on the box kicking as a strategy thing, I remember watching back the Glasgow game, and the amount of times Cawdor sets to box kick in the middle third there. Didn't mind it so much in that game because it was working and we were able to win back ball and we were actually able to attack with it. But in the last few games, it just hasn't worked. And I think that's where a lot of that momentum change was, where we had the ball in the middle third and we were actually open to playing heads-up rugby with it. And that's where we were seeing those little snipes and those little runs from Archie as well. And I thought just yeah, it improved the pace so much.
My only annoyance with this Archie performance is we should have seen it all last season and a little bit in the end of the season before. That's my only issue, because he was our second choice last season, and I know he's established himself as second choice over Dane Blacker right now. But, we just didn't see that last year.
And his first start was against Gloucester, which is the most
Worst
bizarre
decision.
decision. Well, I can remember really for selection.
Yeah, I can remember at the time I was going, no, Archie. I think he was injured in that first block before the autumn internationals.
He did his
And then-
ankle in pre-season at Welford Road.
You were there for that, weren't you?
I was there.
He was there. A few people got injured in that game. I think Harry O'Connor too, wasn't it?
No, Harry O'Connor was Saracens
The week after.
Week after.
Yeah, but he came back. He had a couple bench appearances, if I'm right. Can't remember. But for his first start, I can remember even saying, around that December podcasts that Dragons at home, because we had Dragons at home on New Year's Day. That's a good day to give him his start, because he'll have a home crowd. We're actually playing pretty decently. And let's be honest, it's an easier opposition than Gloucester at the time. And even though I still can't fathom how we lost to Gloucester, because they were so shit in that game, it was unreal. They just scored from basically nothing. We were so poor. But that's that. But to start him away in what is, let's be honest, it's quite a heated rivalry anyway across the west of England. To put him in that position for his first start, it was just bonkers. And we've seen the effect.
Sorry, this season we have got Dane Blacker obviously come back in, and I was worried for Archie, thinking he's not going to get another start if Dane Blacker is going to be there. So it was nice to actually see him get a start. But I still thought this was bizarre. I thought maybe they could have brought him on as a impact player, because I feel he's more of an impact player, and Dane's a bit more safe, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, one thing that has gone in Archie's favour, and I think it was probably his saving grace, was Cowdo's injury around South Africa last season, the last couple of rounds where he did get starts. And that's when we saw what Archie can do. And he's has he been injured at all? I think he's been injured as well for a few weeks during this season. Obviously not full blocks. I don't think, at least.
Is Cowdo injured then?
He gets rested. He's old. Oh, yeah. He gets rested.
So he's starting the weekend then. Sounds it.
I mean,
think so.
I wouldn't have thought. Okay, if we'll fast forward to that for a quick second. Yeah. But I would put Cowdo on the bench just because we need to manage his minutes. We knew this last season. We do have viable options to come off the bench now. But I'm imagining he's going to be starting against Ulster in a fortnight's time, unless Archie has another stormer. Which
Cowdo doesn't need to do 80 minutes anymore, does he?
Exactly. He can do 20 off the bench, have a bit of match fitness about him, and move. So that'll be my time for that. So yeah, Archie, great. Yay, keep it going, my boy.
Before we get into really the nitty-gritty of what went wrong and what went weird, just want to mention, having watched the game back, two other standout performances that I fully did not notice the first time I watched the game. But watching it back, I was like, oh my God, he's done it again. Both of them was Tommy Rog and Tane Plumtree. Yeah. Tommy Rog had a quiet game for a winger, but I've said it before. He's got that rare ability as a winger to affect the game from the wing. A lot of wingers just stand out there, and if they don't get the ball, they don't get the ball. He challenged in the air really well. Didn't win every single one, but made Pau work, and it was never clean ball when they won it. And the turf gave way underneath him a couple of times, which caused him to slip over. I think he would have beaten a few more defenders if that wasn't the case. And he just looked lively. He wanted the ball, and he looked like he was going to do something with it every time that he had it. And then Tane Plumtree restored to number 6, which is his best position, playing as an edge forward for what feels like the first time this season. He's played actually as an edge forward, and he was everywhere. Didn't give away a penalty. Good to see New John told us that. And I don't know, John, if you want to come in having watched it back again. But I will say for Archie's try, which is our best try of the night, the ball gets wide to Tane Plumtree. Plumtree puts the initial kick in. The first player who gets to it is Tommy Rog, who puts the next kick in, and then it's Archie who grounds it. And they were our best 3 players on the night, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were. I think the issue we have is we had a lot of good individual performances, but we didn't have a collective good performance. Like, early, if I go straight on to Ting, but there was literally, and I'm glad John, pulled us up. He didn't give away a penalty, because if you go to about 9 minutes into the game, Ting gets trapped on the wrong side, and there's no way he can get out of the way of that ball. And the moment it happened, I go in, he's conceded a penalty here, but he's working his arse off to get out of the way. And Sam Grove notices that work, that effort, and he doesn't penalise him. And I thought, that could be a big thing for Ting. He's actually caught in a position where, like, let's be honest, 99% of the time someone's going to penalise him. He's made that effort and it's been recognised. I think that'd be a good thing when they watch this game back and they do their analysis. He's going to see that moment and be like, okay, my efforts are justified. Because there's always people on his back about the penalties he gives away. But we've been down that route before. Jake Ball early on in the game, about 3 minutes or so, there was this clear out he put in. Not quite from the side, but he was there or thereabouts, and he just absolutely smashed whoever was trying to, counter ruck and get that ball. And honestly, I was just thinking, this is why we brought him back. This is the Jake Ball that we all remember, and the work he goes through is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you can go through almost every player. I think at least 10 of these boys, and go, they individually, they had a real good game. Elias was good. Matthias, Tom, I think
Matthias is playing well. Matthias is playing well at the moment.
Matthias is going really well. There was one issue which I got really annoyed at.
Well, when he tried to sidestep the fullback instead of just going straight over him.
I mean, I'm not annoyed by that. He just doesn't quite have the snake hips that I do, to actually get around that last man. But no, a penalty was conceded against him, but he was on the opposite side and there was no camera angle showing what happened. But what we could see on this side was Paulo's head hinging like massively on Henry Thomas. And I was like, you're not showing that. So, like, I've said this before, you've got to review every individual penalty, every single scrum on its own. You've to really assess, was that penalty really justified? Did that player really give away that pen? And in this instance, I don't think he was responsible for that. So, but his carrying game has improved massively since the autumn. I think I said the exact same thing last week. And he carried on in the same vein this. I was quite annoyed when him and Henry Thomas were subbed off in the second half. I thought they had at least another 5 minutes in them because they were playing really, really well at that point.
Yeah, but I thought, to be honest, I thought the whole pack had a really, really strong performance in the game. And I have to apologize to both of you, Mark and Hugh, because a few weeks ago, we were talking about what happens when Tane comes back from Autumn International from injury. How do you manage the back row? And I think I said that I couldn't imagine having Fletcher Anderson, and Tane in the same back row at the same time. Because I thought it was like a little bit too much of one thing and that. But no, I got to give you your flowers. It's a really, really good back row, moving Tane into 6. And in this game, as is pretty clear if you watch back any highlights of the game, let alone the whole thing, edge forward, living on the edge, is exactly what he was doing in this game. He was... No.
In terms of the back row, we got right now, when Fletcher Anderson, Josh McLeod, and Tane Plumlee, I think it's the exact same position we had at the start of last season when we had Carwyn Tuipulotu here. And I know we called for it repeatedly last season, and actually the season before we were saying, give him the 8 shirt. Because I can still remember that now. So that balance, because Fletcher Anderson and Carwyn Tuipulotu are identical players in the style they play the game.
And the haircut and moustache helps as well. Like both of them.
Carwyn got in the Southwest Radio Champions Cup Team of the Week.
Just cut out that first. He got into a Champions Cup Team of the Week. What was it? When you posted, I think it was like La Rochelle, Pau, someone else, and one other team. And then I think I had one Toulon player. So it's like only from 4 teams managed to get into that 15. So, well done to him. But what we've seen in the background now, we had these options, obviously not the same player personnel, but we had this exact same option, this exact same balance last season. and didn't do it. And now we've come to this season and we've gone out and we've found someone to do that exact same job. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy to me. But seeing as we mentioned Carwin, he didn't have a bad game, did he?
Scored a try.
Yeah.
Gave away a couple of penalties as well. Good boy. Remembers his roots.
Did he have 2 head injury assessments in the game as well, or just the one?
I don't think you can have 2.
No, you can't have 2.
You can't have 2. I feel like I saw him going off for one, and then I thought he was called for one later in the game as well.
There was one in the
Or
first half where he was called
and then went back.
and they were like, no, not you. And he's like, yeah, I didn't think me. And then went back.
Fair enough.
No, because obviously his try, okay, apart from taking the ball standing still, which got my issue with, especially with back rows taking the ball standing still, he picked the right line and the right target to get over. And Henry Thomas 1-on-1. A lot of the times you're gonna say Henry Thomas he's a strong guy, but when you got momentum behind you, you're not winning that battle. You put Carwin's weight, add his speed into it, and you need 2 men at least.
Henry Thomas scored in this game. It just got chalked off. Because when it happened, I'd completely wiped this from my mind when I was watching it back. And he scored. I was like, I swear it was Josh McLeod got our second try.
Yeah,
I was watching it well confused. And then it got ruled out.
What happened with that? Because I couldn't see it from where I was. Was it
knock on?
Yeah.
Fletcher
knock on in the build-up.
Okay.
Yeah. Not like Henry. Henry's great. Love Henry. He's brilliant scrummager. You can't fault Henry in that category at any point. But I think what sort of contract did Carwin have? I think it was like a 1+1, wasn't it? If I can remember rightly.
With who?
Pau now.
I don't know how many years he's got left now.
I'm pretty sure there's on a graphic. I'm pretty sure that he can leave at the end of the season, but he's got an option for another. But, just because I can't see Fletcher being non-Welsh qualified and actually being Scottish qualified, I can't imagine.
Not another one. Not another Scottish qualified forward.
Not another Blade Thompson.
Yeah.
Not another Blade Thompson. Alex Craig. John Barkley.
John Barkley.
At least his children are Welsh qualified. So.
But yeah, like I think we're going to be in that position. I can see him getting poached up to Scotland. If not, at the end of this, it depends on what contract he's got with us. But I can't imagine him staying too long.
Look amazing playing for Edinburgh. Let's not think about it, boys. Right, let's.
Great in Tartan, yeah.
Right, so let's.
On that note,
the question that I've got, I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall at halftime and see what was said. So I want to hear you guys first. What do you think was said at halftime?
what was the score at halftime?
It was 26-24 to Pau. Somehow we scored 3 tries.
Yeah.
Probably along the lines of, boys, you know what? We're not really doing anything by you, and we're in a chance of winning.
Oh, we trained well in the week.
That's
usually
that was after the game.
Yeah.
I think
maybe just said, look, just go and play rugby. Forget what we discussed before the game. Just go and play the game. And I think, they worked that out by the end of the first half, that they could play a bit of rugby and actually score some tries, which is the most tries you scored in a game all season, right?
Yep.
Correct.
So do you think then, like, where did that for the third quarter performance, where did that come from? It wasn't even that. It was the first 15 minutes of the second half, really. It wasn't even a full quarter.
Honestly, I think that comes from Tane Plumtree's boot, Tommy Rogers' boot, and Archie Hughes' hands. I think that try just properly inspired the boys, give us momentum, and there was belief going in at halftime then. And I think that was probably what got us over.
We went 12 points up, right? At one point. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So to get to that point from being so far down, then they must have obviously believed that they could beat this team. So I don't know what happens in the last 20 minutes to change that.
Dan Robson comes on, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
52 minutes was an important moment, I think we have to say.
I'm just going to preface this by saying I feel really bad talking any kind of shit about Johan Nicholas because I love Johan Nicholas. And I think he's like, for years, he's been a stalwart, he's been a workhorse, but this season is not it. And Max Page should be in that 23
I really
shirt.
feel I heard a few people say, why isn't Max on? Why is Nicholas? Nicholas should be the guy to come on if everyone else is injured. If Max is injured, fair enough, he's there. He's that backup player. He's not someone who replaces Max. It's ridiculous.
Surely is like Max is the young academy player who we've been training up to take over that position.
Yeah.
Who is now more than capable enough to do that. Like he is more than capable to come on in any position from 11 through 15 and do a job.
Max is an X factor player. He will create something out of nothing, and that's what we needed in the last 5 minutes. We needed something, a spark. And
Agree.
we all think, I mean, we don't dislike Johan Nicholas. We just think he's a good hand. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he is the definition of a squad player. Unless you're doing a full rotation, you are looking at injuries before he's really on there, or in a case of he is an injury cover on the bench. But even in this situation, I think we would have been much better off bringing Carwyn Leggett-Jones on a 10, shifting Eddie James to 13 and Joe Hawkins to 12. I think we would have been in a much better position.
That didn't
had we done that.
You said it in the chat, and I was like, oh yeah, we obviously should have done that. Like it was bizarre. And penny for Jack Davis's thoughts, because he must be watching tapes of himself playing out in Bordeaux, going,
"What did they do wrong?
What's happened here?"
I mean,
there's quite a few players like that though. They come on, have a really good game. We had like Ellis Mee in a fullback, thinking, "Oh, he did really well. Oh, he's going to be on fullback next week." No, back he goes. Yeah, it's the most bizarre selections you can think of.
If I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, which is the only way I don't get sunburn on top of this thing, then I feel like potentially somewhere in the background of all of this, they've put together a really carefully thought out rotation of players where they're trying to get X amount of players, X amount of minutes, and X amount of positions. But and that's great, but it doesn't feel like there's any sort of flexibility within that. It's like they've started the season and they said, yeah, okay, Jack Davis will come on. He'll come on for a couple of games. And then he'll go back down to SRC level and we'll reevaluate at the end of the season of how he's done. Rather than saying, oh, Jack Davis came up, maybe not played the house down, but showed himself to be very, very capable. Maybe we need to reevaluate how we're using him. And instead of that, they've just said, no, we'll stick to the plan. It's going to be Max Page now for 2 games off the bench, and then Johan Nicholas comes back on. It feels like they're working off an Excel spreadsheet rather than what they're actually seeing in front of them, is what I feel watching it.
I would love to see that Excel spreadsheet that brings subs on at the 79th minute. That makes like zero sense. Like, what are they going to gain from coming on for a minute? Nothing.
Just to play devil's advocate for those subs. Would any of us have been in favour of taking Archie Hughes off?
I'd have to rewatch the game to look at it, but I think for 10 minutes, maybe 15, because obviously we'd gone behind again. No, it was probably when I would have thought, okay, maybe a change is needed.
Dame Blacker couldn't actually create some decent things, so you would have done well, I think, for like 10 minutes at the end, being a fresh pair of legs.
Okay, Carwyn Leggett, obviously we've said about Joe Hawkins. We'll revisit the Joe Hawkins thing because I feel like we talked about it in the chat, but we haven't actually spoken about it in this podcast. But the Dan Davis, who are you taking off for Dan Davis?
Whoever's too tired to play anymore.
Or injury.
Yeah,
have him as injury cover.
If it was, look, I would have preferred Jared Taylor on the bench. I think, Jared.
He's another one. He hasn't had a proper chance. So when he had a chance of pre-season against Dragons and he tore the house down. He was doing all sorts of stuff. And he hasn't had a chance on any league game.
No, not consistently, no.
No.
I think he's a different type of 6. He's got pace. Like so much
but
pace.
Bring him on. Bring him on as an impact player. Bring him on when we need a bit of like edgy in the game. I just don't understand, and we can talk about coaches and the decisions all we want, but it's not going to change it, is it?
No,
Unfortunately.
this is what we've been banging on about for a while about selecting the not just the 15 but the bench, and then using that bench. I mean, no, obviously
Is Johnny
just
Williams injured?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is he?
yeah. He's
Okay.
listed as injured at least, or unavailable, shall we say? So obviously, Karen Legger-Jones comes on for maybe 10 seconds of action, but still in those 10 seconds of action, he puts in an absolute stunner of a pass to Blair on the outside, and I think a match fit
Do you
Blair
think
does
Blair's
something with
fit?
that.
Do you think
No.
Blair was fit?
No, definitely
The
not.
win, yeah.
No.
And
Yeah, terrible game.
this swings back to what you just saying about Jack Davis, because obviously, I can understand for the Cardiff game because Blair was back, and he hadn't had a poor performance at that point. But Blade came back, he done well in Cardiff, but got injured again. So this is the second time in the space of 2 weeks that this boy has then gone injured. So that's when you're starting to think, okay, we're gonna have to, ease him back in. But no, surely it would have been a much better decision to have either reinstalled Jack Davis, for the Ospreys fixture,
Or you
or
could put Ellis Me
stuck
and
with
had
Ellis,
Tommy Lewis
or even Matt Page.
like you feel for Tommy Lewis, he was 2 seasons ago, he was everywhere, and now you can't even get a game. It's
That injury, I think, again against the Dragons, I want to say it was at the back end of
there's a Judgment Day game.
2024. Maybe
that game.
Might have been. No, that game, that injury, I should say, has screwed his career at this kind of point, because Ellis Mee comes in and he starts. We brought Ellis Mee in as a fullback. He'd only played fullback for Nottingham before we signed him. That was his role.
And in SRC for Drovers?
Yeah. He came in and he absolutely trained the house down. He looked 3 or 4 levels above.
He's gone from
an SRC.
semi-pro rugby to capped for Wales in like 6 weeks.
It was ridiculous. And,
also, his height.
Yeah,
we need height in the far as a fullback.
Yeah,
Blair's, to foot in the far.
I know they say any
dirty.
height can play the game.
Very
Any
dirty.
height, yeah, any
Brilliant
height can
player.
play the game, but there
Winger.
are minimums. For like, I think if you're a fullback and you're smaller than say 5'11", maybe 5'10", then you're asking for a bit of trouble. And Blair at 5'8".
Ask
And it does
Matthew
that.
Morgan how his career went.
You could say, but the same of Benetton,
Rhino Smith.
He's about 5'8", and he's brilliant. But again, it's how you use these players, and when you want them to move up to international level, it doesn't transition well. If you want, like, obviously for the Scarlets, for URC games, and obviously the group phase of Challenge Champions Cup, it's fine. But when you come into big important games, your mind's got to switch out of rotation and who do we want to play where. We got to put what's the most successful team we can put out. And obviously we've argued for a while about Blade 15, and yes, he is capable, but I still don't believe he's a long-term solution for us or Wales.
Yeah, but I think the reason why he was playing in this game, because if we all agree that he wasn't fit, because that was pretty clear, his pace wasn't there, his head didn't really seem to be completely there either. You have to ask yourself the question: why did they push him back to start? If they pushed him back to start before he was ready, why? And to be honest, I think with Johnny Williams not playing, with Cordon not playing, you have Joe Hawkins, who is a Project 10, starting this game as, who's a more experienced player in the back line at that point? Tommy Rogers?
And Joe, well, I wouldn't.
That's a good point.
I don't like to include wingers when you're talking about leadership in the backs.
Yeah, but that's where we are at this point. Is what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
obviously, there's Joe Roberts there, but I do think people forget how young our back line is. Even though Joe Roberts is 25, 26, like literally the start of 2023.
I think that makes him the oldest.
Yeah, in this game. No, Tommy Rogers older. Even though obviously Tommy Rogers has been around a long time. He's done his sevens, he's done all that. Joe Roberts, because of his injuries early on, he only really started for us at the beginning of 2023. So, and he's had even more injuries during that time. So realistically, he's got less than 3 years professional experience, and we're saying he's a most experienced player on the pitch.
That's why I think that they rushed Murray back to start in this game.
And not to point fingers or say anything, but I think we've all heard of players being.
But then why not pick Cowder then? If he's fit.
Because Archie needed the game.
Genuinely, he needed a rest, and the Excel spreadsheet said he shouldn't start this game. I genuinely am at the point now where I think like the Excel spreadsheet said he didn't start. Like, because otherwise, it's where else is his rest going to come? Like, I suppose away to Northampton.
He's going to have the whole of February and March off.
He booked annual leave. We know this.
And he put it in the tracker at the start of the year.
Yeah, he's like, I'm off that week.
I'm in Dubai that week, boys.
No. I reckon. Okay, if I'm retiring from international rugby, I'm having those weeks off when I want in the season, and this is where he's picking them now. No, obviously.
2 Lions tours, boys. I do what I want.
Or he said, I'm going to score 2 tries against Cardiff. If I score 2 tries against Cardiff, I can have that week off. And that's what it was.
It was a bet, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, he did. He said before the game, didn't he? He was like, I'm going to score 2 tries today.
Yeah. Was he done it 3 times in a row, haven't he? Like
something like that, yeah.
Honestly,
he loves playing that.
Yeah. Let's see if he can stick around for at least another season and do it next year. I wouldn't mind that.
I think he will mind. I think he will. He said on a rival podcast that we want to stick around.
Well, when he's got the sprint to get under the sticks from there on the intercept, then he should definitely be sticking around for another season.
Just a couple more points. I felt like in the second half we got the ball in Eddie James's hands more, and that led to good things. And then, John, you noticed a tweak of how they were using Hawkins in the second half. Yeah,
when you were asking, what did they say at half? What did Dwayne say at halftime to motivate the boys? I was trying not to give the boring answer of stand about 3 meters further back, put Eddie James at first receiver and move Hawkins in at second, because that is what happened. And that was because I watched the first 15 of the second half and I thought, this is amazing. Where's this performance come from? How is this so different? And I went back to watch the first 10 minutes again. And the first 10 minutes looks very, very similar to the first 15 minutes of the second half. The difference is how flat they are to the line. They're a lot further back in the second. Eddie James is in at first receiver more often, with Hawkins in at second or even later in the play. And once there's a bit more momentum in the attack, Hawkins moves to first receiver. And he looks good then. So once there's a little bit of momentum coming around, he has a great pass for Kemsley on the no try.
Yep.
The beautiful salsa hips no try, where he skips out 3 defenders.
Salsa hips. That's his nickname.
Salsa hips Hawkins.
No, salsa hips.
Kemsley. Yeah, beautiful thing of beauty. He should have scored it, but and just generally in that little highlights package that you put together, highlights and lowlights. To be fair, the difference is really, really clear. He just has more time on the ball. Almost as if he's not a starting 10.
Yeah. So you're saying they moved him to 12 and he looked better?
Yeah.
My
the problem
goodness.
in his natural position.
Yeah, it's
EJ 10 confirmed. I've been saying it for days at this point.
Genuine.
Anger banger. Let's go back to it might have even been the year before last, but I think you made fun of me for this because when I compared him to Dan Carter. And,
I've said sorry plenty of times for that, Mark.
Thank you. But you know what? Eddie's got history at 10 from his younger days, so it's class. He is class. Yeah. We do need to get him taking a few more crash balls or being a threat, a running threat as well.
He didn't. Oh, James, Eddie. Yeah, he was a bit, by his standards, a little bit quiet in the game. He linked play well, but he didn't actually carry that much himself. All right in defense, but by his standards, it was a quiet game. Nothing wrong, but a quiet game.
So here's my question. Here's the burning question. That whole thing of, all right, you stand here, you stand there, a bit more depth. Let's spread the fucking ball. Which way is that conversation gone? who has said those words? Has Dwayne walked in and gone, "Here we go, boys. I've got an idea." Has Jared Payne walked in with a piece of paper and gone, "I've just thought of 5 really cool first phase moves that we can do. Here's how they go." Or has one of the boys gone, "For God's sake, boys, let's just play a bit of footy by ear." Which direction as those instructions come? Have the play, because Dwayne cut a very different figure in this game.
Yeah.
I felt.
I would very much like to think that it was the 18-year-old Carwyn Legger-Jones at halftime going, "That's not how you play 10. Do this and it'll work."
Genuinely though, it could have been.
Because someone in that dressing room at halftime has thrown a cup of tea against the wall and gone, "Remember who you are, boys." Like that, something like that has happened. I want to know who it's come from, because the fact that, like you were saying, John, about how flat they were and stuff. That's how we've been playing all season. That's how they've been playing all season. That first 15 minutes of the second half, we haven't played like that at all this season in any game.
Not close. Not close.
So what gives?
I would say that part of the reason that we're a little bit flatter normally is because we have Costi and he can make decisions faster because he is a 10. But like, genuinely, I hope it was Dwayne that recognized it and said, because I don't think there was anyone on the pitch, maybe Murray, who could actually identify it and say, we need to give an extra few meters, or who has the confidence to say it in that situation. I know they're all professional players, but like, you've got a lot of people who don't have the experience of other like international caliber 10s or things like that to actually move people around and change the formation on the fly. That's something that Sammy is really fucking good at. And
it's not just that, is if you go through our main coaching team, none of them are 10s. The only person that's played 10 within our coaching setup is Scott Snedden. And he's working, skills transition. He's not up in that coaching box. I wouldn't have thought he's speaking much, at those moments,
Archie's definitely said something, because Archie, a lot of the stuff that Archie's doing, he's just doing off his own back. There's a bit at the end where he pops up on the wing, the ball, they kick long, Hawkins fields it. Hawkins kind of running like that. Archie sprints around him, comes around and gets on the wing and stuff. So Archie's definitely just been proactive. I wonder if it's Eddie. I wonder if Eddie's just gone to Joe, "Mate, stand behind me."
Possibly.
Maybe. I think it's a lot. I'd like to think that that's the case, but I think there's too many moving parts for him just to say, let's just make this one change. I think they've gone in and they've said, I think they've had an actual effective talk at halftime, unfortunately, and it's had an impact. But I think you're right. There's a massive skills gap in the coaching ticket to recognize certain things and adjust on the fly. Like, that's one of the reasons we are missing Sammy as much as we are. And if we had just another backup 10, any backup 10, give me Dinky. Give me Dinky. If we had Dan back, then I think it would
just a proper backup 10. That's what we need.
Just a real 10.
Yeah, just a proper 10.
Even if we didn't let, Tits go up to bloody Leicester, he wasn't exactly expensive, would be his first pro contract.
Archie Hughes sits staring out the window every night wondering where Tits is.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't sit where he is. They're on FaceTime together. They know exactly where each other are.
Oh, it's a nightmare now because Tits is in Japan. So the time difference.
He's in Japan?
Yeah,
I thought he was alone
in Japan.
Good for him.
Got to have that. Got to have a nice experience.
Anyway,
I'll be honest. I spent the start of the season, every Leicester team sheet, I was going, Tits should be starting, tagging him. We love you, Leslie. Come home. I know you're English, but come home.
Okay. On the subject of that, then, we talked about the gaps in the coaching ticket. How do we phrase this? What's the fix? Everyone's calling for a change in the coach's box. What's the fix?
Okay. I mean, for me, and I think I've said a few things for you boys. I think we need to go take a step back even further from the main coaching ticket and look at it a bit more widespread. because obviously we were absolutely shocking, the autumn winter of 2023. Crease 16 puts the letter in, we need change, and then Scarlets come out and we're moving John Daniels away from rugby. Phil Morgan, I can't remember where he was going, but he's with the WRU now, and we're bringing Lee Jones in to be performance director. Should have been a pure director of rugby, but
it was director of culture or something like that, wasn't it?
I think it was performance something.
And he was part-time.
Yeah.
Because in the sports media, he was only working like 1 week out of the month or something.
Oh, that's ridiculous. And, I think we can go back before that even and look at the coaches that Dwayne has brought in. So obviously he brought in Jared as the attack coach. Didn't work. Still not working, because I'm assuming he's still a part of that, because we don't have
that's still not clear. We still don't really know who's doing what.
Exactly. But on the defensive side, okay, the defense was quite poor against Pau, but on a whole, our defense has improved under Jared. But we also brought in Shane Carney at the same time, and I can remember who telling me Ulster fans were happy to get rid, and it was a comment about being 50 down against the Stormers in South Africa and the boys being off their feet. And the exact same thing happened with us. I know that is an earlier pod.
Just on defence. So in the last pod, I said our defence hasn't actually been that terrible. We don't actually concede that many tries, that many points. Obviously, that's very much not the case for this rugby match that what we just played on that there weekend. The stats say that Pau got to our 22 8 times and scored 7 tries. AKA, there was only actually one attack that Pau had that we successfully stopped.
Hey, that's one. That's good.
They have a nearly 90% chance of scoring a try if they get to our 22.
Well, 87.5. Give the real number.
But that's really, really, really bad.
Why are we so inconsistent though? Because the last 2-3 matches is Bordeaux, Glasgow. There's a few other games
Bristol.
where Bristol, our defense was really good, but we couldn't score tries. And now we're scoring a bit of tries and we can't defend.
It's the same players as well.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's like they've they've just gone, we'll try this instead. Or actually forget about what was good that game and we'll just do the opposite. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, I think it's like we just said, we're missing an attack coach. So we've gone from not really having an attack coach focusing on defense. Defense was good against the South Africans, Glasgow, obviously the 2 Champions Cup games, and Cardiff. Then we're thinking, okay, our attack's not doing enough, and then we go, okay, we'll stop looking at defense and we'll focus on attack. And obviously the attack has picked up this week, but the defense has dropped off massively.
We can't. Let's not rewrite history though. That our attack against the Dragons was the worst attacking performance I might have seen from any side ever.
Yeah, that is fair. But
that's with 2 attack coaches
and the Ospreys.
Apparently 2 attack coaches
and a skills coach, which I still don't know what that is. Every team seems to have one, but I don't actually know what a skills coach is.
No,
he teaches them to spin the ball on the finger.
You hold the ball like this, and then you throw it.
Because it's not even as if we have a full-time skills coach, if that's what we're gonna, because Snedden manages the academy and the senior academy, the transition boys, so transitioning them into the first team. So it's not as if he's only
I'm talking about
one.
Emmett Phillips.
Oh, it's a shared job, apparently.
It's a bit like how Albert Vandenberg is forwards and line-out coach, but Emmett Phillips is scrum.
Yeah.
And Bradley Davis is contact.
Yeah.
Forget about Bradley because we don't see him. He is on the sidelines. If we make a substitute, I'm pretty sure we might be able to see him.
Is that why Dwayne sits on his own?
I don't know why he sits on his own.
He sits on his own. He's a naughty corner, doesn't he? He looks like he's been banished to the. Just go sit over there.
No,
he looks like the kid with.
He looks like the kid with packed lunch that no one wants to sit next to in school.
Yeah,
it just makes me sad every time I see him. It was so sad at Rodney Parade.
I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but it seems like the players have lost their trust in the caution team. The caution team just don't seem happy either. I mean, yes, we are losing, but they should at least be positive. And Dwayne says the same thing every week. I don't think everyone's clicking.
No. I mean, to be fair, we don't see a lot of Jared or Albert to really say what sort of moods they're in. Like we see Dwayne, so we see Dwayne, and he looks like apart from this week where, randomly he just started looking a bit more chipper, a bit of a smirk on his face. He looked like a broken man.
The interest rates went down on mortgages. That's why.
I wonder if because he was genuinely looked so dejected against. It was the Ospreys game, wasn't it? That people picked up on and said he looked so miserable. It was
that photo of him just sat with his arms crossed. I mean, any other team you watch, they've got a line of people on laptops discussing the game and stuff. Yeah. Why is he on his own up the top?
But I think that part of the reason that maybe he looked a little bit more chipper is because this picture obviously did the rounds. Everyone was talking about it. People were asking him about it in intervie's.
He's just got to smile.
So he's pretending to look happy.
He had a bit of he had a little bit of beauty queen.
He's had a funny demeanor about him this week.
I mean, in terms of him sitting on his own, his two main coaches, his two main assistants, which are Albert and Jared, have got to be there. You've got to have at least one analyst with you, at least.
It makes no sense, and I don't think from any perspective you can look at it and go, they've got things under control there. It just doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, if they're going to make changes, I think what they got to not do, which is what they got accused of last time with Lee Jones coming into stuff, was the whole deck shares on the Titanic thing.
It
can't be a case of like shuffling the deck. Like, it's different cards now. No, it's the same cards. They're just in a different order. Because
if we move him here and he's out of sight, he's still there doing something, isn't it? That's the thing. We need a fresh coaching team. Personally, I think we need like a fresh coaching team.
Look, if we do circle back to the start of this conversation where I mentioned, obviously Lee Jones coming in as performance director, and we had Shane Carney come in before that as strength and conditioning. One of the things we constantly say about the Scarlets and the Scarlets pack is we are underpowered. That is the responsibility of the strength and conditioning team for me. And they go, oh no, we don't have the players. Well, hang on, you've got your full-time strength and conditioning. You've got boys full-time in the gym doing these exercises and working hard. There are, you've got people of the exact same physical profile who are a lot more powerful. I think that's a strength and conditioning issue. Whether or not that needs a change, that is, something for, obviously the club to review. But I think that could be something we need to look at because, I don't think we're getting the best out of our boys physically. Kemsley obviously has looked really good carrying physically since the autumn, but why wasn't he looking like that in the couple of years previous? And it's the same for everyone really. And obviously we spoke last week about saying, well, where is Lee Jones? What is he doing? And quite frankly, that his role should have been a director of rugby. It should have been someone coming in above Dwayne to really to run the ship, to take pressures that Dwayne.
Because the original press release for that said that he would have that person would have a say in team selection.
Yeah, and then he said in an interview afterwards that would be head coach's final say, that it wasn't going to be part of his purview. So something changed along the way in the middle there, which is a mess as well. But then if you're talking about the pack is underpowered as well, I'm going to bring it back to my bugbear from earlier, that we don't have an out-and-out second choice 10, which is, I think, insane. Part of that can't just be on the head coach when it comes to recruitment. Yeah, I'm sure as rugby performance director, Lee Jones has a say in what sort of players they go after, who they're looking for to add to the squad. We haven't had a second recognised 10 since Dinky.
Yeah.
Even when we had Johan Lloyd, he was a utility back. There's and I love Costi, and I think he should remain our first choice 10, but you need a second choice out and out 10. If we had a second choice out and out 10,
Because
I think
Costi has been injured quite a few times in the last
He is
2
injury prone.
years.
He's going to miss.
You can you can
8 games a
predict he's
season.
going to
Yeah.
miss. Yeah, you can predict he's going to get injured in the season.
Like half season, he's more or less gone, isn't he?
So where's the recruitment then? Because he's injury prone. Like,
Yeah.
And everybody knows this. Everybody, even the certain outlet that should remain nameless, was like, God, Scarlets are better when Sam Costello plays.
Scarlets are better when a 10 plays.
We're all there. We're like that meme with the guy with the noose around his neck, like first time, it's like, yeah, welcome to the party, pal type thing.
Yeah.
Right. That reminds me I'm desperately trying to move the podcast along because we've been going for an hour already.
That's nothing, man.
On kind of strength and conditioning and player fitness and stuff, John was asked a question.
Oh yeah. So we had a question in from the pod last week. This came from In Wales One on the YouTube. So we do answer questions. So if you have a question and you want it answered, put it in the comments below, Spotify or YouTube, and we'll get to you. In Wales One asked us, I'm finding it difficult, perhaps just laziness, to find the data, but do other teams in the league lose so many players to injuries in the warm-up before kickoff or in the training beforehand? It seems to happen an awful lot for the Scarlets. I was hopeful from the Glasgow and European games of the team actually turning a corner, but what's happened? I added the emphasis on the end, but I felt it. So I looked it up, and thankfully, we put out a list of injured players before every team, before every game, rather. And I could go back and have a look at the ones that we had at the start of each season. And this year is actually the outlier because we only had 6 players unavailable. But every other season we've had over 10. Going back as far as 22-23, we had 14 players, almost a full starting team, and 95% of them would have been in the first 23, I would say, from that as well. Now, as to whether or not that's a general problem amongst other rugby teams, other teams are not as good as us. They don't point out all of their injured players at the start of the year or before every single game.
They don't get their excuses in early.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I could get Zebra, I could get Munster, I could get Ulster. Leinster is really
love an injury list. Munster love an injury list.
And I went through and I came up with an average of 6 at the start across these teams, at the beginning of each season. And for example, Ulster, at the beginning of 23-24, they were missing John Cooney, James Hume, Jake Flannery, Tom Stewart, Rob Herring, Robert Balakoon. So a mix of starting players and not fringe squad members, but fringe 23 players. And then, for example, Edinburgh this season started with 11 players unavailable. But the vast majority of those were outside of the starting 23. So as far as I can tell, we are bad at this. Glad to give you bad news.
In terms of players pulling out before, like during the warm-up, I think that Sam Lousy is particularly bad for that. I think he does that a good 3 or 4 times a season.
It happened a game ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it happened at Rodney Parade.
Yeah, that's the one.
I want to say it's happened a few times at Lucid as well, but I can't remember if it was Alec or Kemsley, because I'm sure I've seen Sock come into a 23 a few times over the last year.
Back to our warm-up, when I've watched us warm up, I can't think that we do any particularly hefty warm-ups. Like I watched the Stormers yesterday. Their warm-up, I'm surprised they don't get more injuries from that. Ours is pretty light comparatively.
They don't do contact or anything. They just literally ruck.
Pads.
Yeah, pads and ruck, and that's it.
It could be that rushing players
And
back.
line out.
It could be that players aren't fit when they get named in the team sheet.
I think the drop off from our first 15, first 23 is so substantial that they do rush players back because maybe we don't have the budget to back it up, or the recruitment isn't there. But rushing players back is a problem.
I mean, that is a case. I mean, we can go through our squad and say, our first team, let's say a first 30, include your bloody reserves on that match day squad as well. I think we've probably got about 32, 33 players all in that can sub in and out of our 15, 23, and we're good. But, then you drop one down and it just goes all to hell.
Second row is the particular pinch point. Second row, it's literally like one injury and we're in trouble.
we never seem to have depth at second row, and we seem to sign a fair few hybrids. Sam Lousy has been tried at 4-6. Max Douglas is the same. Obviously we can go back to Tag Burn. We do, Tane Plumtree, who's one that was brought in, or he can play second row too. Tristan Davis, another one who was, down as, they will be second row cover. And I don't think we're getting enough out and out second rows to.
We don't produce them though. That's the thing. All of our second rows, out of our second rows at the moment, only one is homegrown, Jack Price.
Yeah, that is true. We do have some good ones in the senior academy. I do have to say that. Whether or not they make it is a different question. But even then, one of them is an exile. Will Evans. He's not a local lad. One from Carmarthen Athletics, Sam Williams, been playing with Llanelli Wanderers and Carmarthen Quins this year. He's looking pretty good.
This feels like we're sneaking into community chat.
Does it? Does it really?
What a transition. What a
Very,
transition.
very subtle.
We've got a lot of community to talk because we've got normal community, we've got the Thunder, and Mark, do you want to tell them what's back?
What is back? What is back? It's the new year, which means the regional age grade under 18 championship part 2 is back live. And guess what? The Scarlets have recorded their first win of 2026. Absolutely amazing. Shocking that it took 11 days for it to happen, but glad that it didn't take any longer. So obviously we played the first block, 4 games, RGC, Ospreys, Cardiff Dragons. This year's 18s, Cardiff are, they're the ones that are looking the best. You can't lie, and the table doesn't lie. I think they've won either 4 from 4 or 5 from 5. But after that first block, we drew with RGC. Tight draws against Ospreys and Dragons, and a bit of a loss against Cardiff. So up at Llandovery yesterday, which would be the Sunday, we welcomed RGC down, and a casual 40 points to 7 victory. So it's not bad. I've got the try scores by here, courtesy of the Scarlets Academy X Twitter page, whatever you want to call it. So Ollie Tucker, Harvey Thomas, Kean Lewis, Reese Wyatt, Alfie Luger, Austin Sanford, all with tries, and 10B fly half Maddock Evans with 5 conversions.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the first time they've wore a VX3 kit as well. Or at least this new VX3 kit is saying. So,
Well, it's got to be. You kind of worn it before.
But yeah, because this is the second block. They've already played the first block.
They were still wearing that stripy Castor one.
I might actually go back and have a look, but that'll take time.
I just want to say, as a fan of a name, I really hope Maddock Evans just goes from strength to strength. I really need to see him starting.
Is he the new Griff Watkin?
Maddock Evans is a better name than Griff Watkin.
How very dare you?
No, Maddock Evans. No.
Okay, I'm sharing the screen now. We're going to go.
Wait. Can we do the Thunder first before we do the community?
I thought you wanted to talk about more about Maddock Evans and Griff Watkin. Sorry.
Well, I normally, this season at least, I'd say no, but the Thunder done well this week.
Yeah, they didn't win, but they did better.
They done well.
So Thunder played against Clovers. It was played at Cardiff Arms Park, which is disappointing.
Ooh.
I would have preferred. I don't understand why they don't do double headers with the Scarlets. I know that there are downsides to double headers and people don't like them for reasons, but I feel like it's better than playing it at Cardiff Arms Park. And we're in the mode of trying to promote the Thunder and raise awareness of them and stuff. So I would have liked that. So it was a very, very narrow 15 points to 12 defeat to Clovers. So the Irish sides in the Celtic Challenge are the strongest teams. So I think we took some very, very, very bad losses off them last season. So to register, a competitive one.
Can I just say about you? So obviously on screen, so YouTube viewers, you get to see this. So we got the Thunder's first try at 22nd minute. We're already 15-0 down at that point. So does that mean we held out Clovers for over an hour?
Yep.
That's great defensive work. Ashley Beck, clap hands, great defense coach. As an attack
he's obviously
coach,
been
he can work a
defense
bit
coach
more
this week.
As forwards coach, I don't know, as backs coach, scrum coach, set piece coach, head coach. Christ, I don't. He needs a bit of help, I think.
Oh, well, this is, you've set me off now. So you may have noticed in that clip that Brisson are playing in red jerseys and Clovers are playing in red and green quarters.
Not good.
It's not good, boys. Only when I watched this did it occur to me, hang on a minute, the Celtic Challenge teams don't have alternate kits. They've got one kit. Like, they don't have alternate kits. So whenever you hear the WRU talking about how much money they're investing into the women's game, our two top women's teams in Wales don't have alternate kits. They've only got one kit.
It's not even just that. If these teams are now 3 years old, I know the WRU tried to kill them once. Bastards. Don't do it again. They got a taste for it, so they went for a men's one as well. But for anyone that's followed them the last couple of years, there's no merch. You can't buy nothing. Like, I would have happily bought my girls love rugby.
Hattie on her Etsy shop does do unofficial Brisson Thunder t-shirts.
Oh, cool! Because that was the first thing I tried to look for when I watched the first game of the Celtic Challenge this season. Yeah, couldn't find anything.
But going back to looking on the pitch, I mean, we are in 2026 now, and female rugby, you wanna, it's going up in the world. It's got a chance to really be profitable and successful in the future. So they're blocking out a market from this game. Colorblind people are not going to be able to watch that. There's a reason.
It's all right. It's only men's colorblind, isn't it? So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, true. But, there's all these little things that they're so simple, and they need to be sorted.
Ashley Beck's thinking, please God, don't introduce another kit. I can't do another load of laundry.
Oh yeah, Kitman as well, isn't he? I forgot about that.
He's Kitman as well. Yeah.
Christ. Oh, don't forget the 20s. He's still dealing with the and Wales under 20s as well.
Oh yeah, he's there, Kitman too.
Does absolutely everything. Is that all the Thunder talk done?
Yeah, well done, the Thunder. You didn't win, but you played better. Best performance of the season by a long way.
Okay, so now we are coming into the best part of the pod, which is the community game. And we start, as always, in Super Rugby Cymru. No games this week, nothing to talk about. No games next week. Next round is the Cup. And that's on the 24th, and we'll get round to that. So, down straight into the Premiership. There was a fair few postponements this week. Llangennych Bargoed, Llanelli Wanderers away to Merthyr postponed. But the one game that did go ahead was Narberth, lowly Narberth. Before this game, they played 10 and won 4 against Pontypridd, who'd played 12 and won 10, flying high at the top of the league. And Narberth, they didn't just go and beat top of the table, 21-14. Absolutely massive performance by the Otters to get that win. It's huge for a team that literally scraped, and I mean scraped, into this league by the skin of their teeth last year, 1 point off the relegation zone. I can't remember. I think it might have been Newcastle Emlyn finishing 43, or Bonamine and Narberth around 44. It was that close to now be 5 wins from 11, beaten top of the table. It's looking good for Narberth. They've improved massively, and it's great to see. It really, truly is. So, fixtures for this week, Narberth get to back that up by travelling to Morgan Stoddard's Cross Keys. Llanelli Wanderers are hosting Ystrad Rhondda, and Llangennych get a chance against the Valley Commandos, but this time at Sardis Road. It'll be interesting to see how that game pans out. Down into Championship West, Aberystwyth winning 29-10 at home to Trebanos, Ammanford winning 31-22 at home to Dunvant, Crymych that's down 33-12 away to Bonamine, and Newcastle Emlyn's game away to Gowerton was postponed. It hurts. Postponed games hurts. But now, this Saturday, we've got a bit of a derby. We've got Crymych at home to Ammanford. Got to anticipate Ammanford winning that. Crymych haven't been great this season. And they do get the likes of Keanu Evans, Tian Sparrow, Sean Jones, Yestin Cook. Who else is? Sam Potter is a really good 10. So imagine Ammanford are going to comfortably win this one. Aberystwyth travelling to Dunvant to play Dunvant, not Swansea, in case anyone who listens to the SRC pod heard that. And Newcastle Emlyn at home to Tondy. Now here we're moving slightly across the screen to Division 1 West. We're still on the top part, but we're just slightly across, okay? So Buddyport's home game against Wanalai was postponed. Lambert the 27-15 winners at home to Larne. St Clears Vellinville postponed. Kidwelly losing 50 points to 17 away to Swansea Uplands. Tenby winning 33-17 at home to Hendy. Fixtures for this week: Vellinville against Buddyport, Larne travelling to Kidwelly, Tenby going to Swansea Uplands, Lambert are travelling to Wanalai, and Hendy hosting St Clears. Going down the screen now to 2 West, and we've got Fishguard winning 62-0 at home against Whitland, Lucha winning 42-0 at home against Betos, Nancaredig Pencloud, and Pontarddulais to Christ postponed. Sorry, Pringle, there was no game on Saturday afternoon for you to go to. Fixtures for this weekend, we got Aberaeron at home to Nancaredig, Pontarddulais travelling to Betos, Fishguard at home to Lucha, Carmarthen Athletic go to Croix, and Whitland host Pencloud. 2 West Central, Brenham finally back in action, but no, they're not. The game was postponed at home to Morriston. They will be travelling to Neath Athletic this Saturday. 3 West, Llandilo 50, Trimsaran 7. Haverfordwest 38-26 winners away to Neyland. Milford v Narberth. Hughes New Dock Stars v Amen United. And Tumble against Cardigan, all postponed. Amen United against Milford this Saturday. Cardigan against Neyland. New Dock Stars travel to Haverfordwest. Llandilo at home to Tumble. And Narberth Athletic away to Trimsaran. Into 4 West A. Newcastle Emlyn Draeger's game against Tenby Athletic postponed. Llangam winning 20 points to 14 against Tyrone Crymych. And St David's with a comfortable 45-3 win away to Llanybydr.
Goodness me.
Pontyberem against Pembroke Dock Harlequins postponed. Saturday's games, we got Llangam against Pembroke, Newcastle Emlyn Draeger travelling to St David's, Tyrone Crymych at home to Pembroke Dock Harlequins, and Tenby Athletic at home to Pontyberem. 4 West B, Cefneithin, Pennebank postponed, Pontiates, Binia postponed, Tregar and Llandibby postponed. In the non-postponed games, Furness going down 26-23 away to Fall Bay, Llangadog winning 36-7 at home to Pantavannan. Fixtures for this weekend, we got Binia at home to Llangadog, Cefneithin away to Fall Bay, Furness at home to Pantavannan, Llandibby at home to Pontiates, and Pennebank hosting Tregaron. Now into the women's game, and we actually have a couple results to bring you. One game I was unaware of this past week was Lampeter travelling to Annecy in the WRU Cup. Unfortunately, they lost 24-7, so I believe we're now just down to Buddyport in the cup competition. But in the bowl, this is the 3rd attempt that this game has tried to happen, and the game almost didn't happen for 2 occasions this weekend, because Penny Greig went to the WRU and tried to claim a walkover because, you know, the heavens didn't allow the game to go ahead last week. But, you know, it almost didn't go ahead again, but Newcastle Emlyn moved the game to Haverfordwest High School, which is almost an hour's drive away from the club. So, no, the drive for Penny Greig...
It's the only Newcastle Emlyn game that went ahead this week.
Yeah. It's literally, it's no, obviously if you're driving there from Penny Greig, it's no change in time, just a slightly different road. So, you know, it was basically a neutral game for Newcastle Emlyn, and they won 45-0. So, Ava, you bloody scum. And I can say scum because I bloody grew up near Penny Greig.
Sinead Harris is dancing in the street.
She damn well is. And that means
we should say, by the way, Lynn Jones, we're not very impressed with you.
Let's not talk about it. You don't want to bring attention to it.
Yeah, really in front of Sinead of all people.
Bastard. Absolute bastard. That does mean, though, that Newcastle Emlyn women get to go on to the next round of the bowl, which is the quarterfinals, and they get to host Bala this coming Sunday. Let's hope the weather is nicer and they can actually play a home game at home. Fixtures this weekend, we got in the Premiership, Buddyport away to County Caerdydd. In the Championship, Haverfordwest hosting Anisabel, Lampeter hosting St Gennydd, Whitland travelling to West Swansea Hawks. And in the West Wales division, we've got to Croix against Pembroke. And that wraps up your community game for this week. And I am getting a little bit excited now. So this weekend coming, it's the 17th and the 18th, isn't it? So, the 24th and the 25th. It's Cup Week. It's proper Cup Week. Cup Rugby next, fortnight's time. Come on, boys. Let's do it. All right. That is the end of that. I'll stop being extra weird. I'll never stop being weird. I'll just stop being extra weird. Northampton Preview is up next. And Pringle, we haven't heard you give a preview in such a long, long time. What's going to happen, mate? How much are we going to win this game by? And, how badly is Archie Hughes going to embarrass Henry Pollock?
That's why I have me back on the pod. They say now that I want to come back on is because I'm so negative. I'm a negative nanny, and I know you're like, you want to be like, oh, Scars will smash him. Oh, well, no one's expecting a win, are they? Apart from you.
What? Of course we're going to win. Dwayne Peel's not going to be involved for whatever reason, and we're actually going to play some rugby with a 10 at 10.
What I'd like to know is here are you going?
I'm working on it. I've sent an email to that effect today.
Nice.
So he doesn't want to pay for the game, is what he's saying.
No, you don't want to sell your car.
For it.
Sell your car to get a ticket.
I've paid for a bus trip. I've paid. Well, I remortgaged the house just to get a ticket for the game. Yeah, so I'm going up on Saturday, back on Sunday.
One way or another, I'll be there.
What day is it? What day is the game on? It's on the
Sunday again.
Yeah.
It's Sunday, like 3 o'clock.
It's annoying because Bristol are playing Bordeaux, and I would have gone to that if the Scarlets weren't playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. Such a hard life, Hugh. Such a hard life. So
I mean, we'd all love to see us smash up Northampton, right? That's the dream.
I think at this point, all we want is a performance.
Yeah.
When I've been to Franklin's Gardens once, and I couldn't remember much of the game at all. I knew we won, but I couldn't remember the game at all. So I had to go on and look at it earlier. So it was 15 years ago in the November, and we won 28-23.
Gosh, proper
I take that. I take that.
Matthew Gilbert, a try scorer.
Tell you what, Northampton didn't do that much better than we did out in Bordeaux.
No,
they turned the ball over a hell of a lot of times as well. And we do like a steal.
We do, Captain Josh.
Yeah. I mean, what was the score? It's 50 points to 28, wasn't it? For Northampton.
Bordeaux got to like 50 points in 60 minutes and then didn't score again after that.
So one second, let me just...
Northampton scored 2 tries in that time as well. So, like in the last 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So there we go. Now, 50 points to 21 for us. So that's literally 1 try difference.
Yeah.
So, and this was a huge game for Northampton. This was the big one. They were both, 2 wins, 2 bonus point wins apiece. Basically, a winner takes all for top of the group, and a potential. Is it potentially a home semi final?
And they got smashed.
Yeah, it's not good. That's really not good. I'm not saying
it is Northampton at home though.
Yeah, I'm not logically thinking. I'm not saying we're going to go there and smash it for obvious reasons. We are still shit right now.
I just don't want to be smashed. That's the thing.
I don't want to take 50. Yeah. I really don't want to take 50.
No.
If Jared goes back to focusing on the defense this week, look, I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility to keep this to a 1-score game. I mean, I've seen people, going on about how the hell did we keep Bristol to 17 points. I'm still going on how the hell we still didn't win that game.
Well, we should have won that game. We're lucky that we're in the same pool as the Blue Bulls from Pretoria, who were absolutely dreadful. I don't know if you saw much of their game against Bristol.
Smashed.
But so we're actually in 5th, so we can actually still qualify into the Challenge Cup knockouts.
So can we qualify for the Champions Cup though?
Oh, I don't know if we still can.
Mathematically, yes. Likely, no. I think.
Well, what do we need to happen? Because realistically, it's 4th or 6th for me. I don't want to go in the Challenge Cup because it's going to be an away fixture, and it's going to end up costing the club more money. It's going to cost the club money to play the game
away as well.
Well, okay, that one's not going to cost much at all. But the way the gate receipts work, or at least the way they worked, last time I looked at it, the away team gets 20% for a round of 16.
So we're 3 points behind Pau, who we should have beat, but we didn't really say it in the review. But Pau did not send a serious team to play against us apart from Carwin. So we should have beaten them. It was, despite how we managed to talk positively about it for an hour, it was still really bad. But our points difference is better than them. Doesn't matter because we. So if the Bulls beat Pau and Pau get a losing bonus, they'll be level on 6.
The Bulls.
So we need the Bulls.
The Bulls have
to travel to France to play Pau.
Yeah.
Who are at home, they're a French team. They will be a bit more serious at home.
We need a 9-3.
The Bulls are not going to send a good team.
Well, they've announced their squad, and Andre Pollard's in it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
That's not necessarily guarantee a good team if you've watched the local of the Bulls so far this season.
Well,
but if we then beat Northampton, then we're through.
I mean, what is it about South Africans of always having, one team that doesn't look like it got any coaches? I mean, it was the Sharks for a few years, and now it's the Bulls.
Sharks still look like that, to be fair. But so yeah, that's our hope of getting through ahead of Pau. To get through ahead of Bulls, we need Bulls to not better our results away in Northampton. If we get a losing bonus, our points difference is a lot better than theirs. So I feel like if we get a try bonus, we've got a good chance of going through.
Yeah. So we have to go at it with just all out attack. Yeah. Is the idea. What's the Challenge Cup qualification? 5th place?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Honestly, it's Champions Cup or nothing. I don't see there being any point in going into the Challenge Cup. Unless we can guarantee a very, very local game. I don't see much value in it whatsoever, because again, we don't get much money for going to these away games. So I'm thinking, I'm not thinking about the rugby here. I'm thinking about financially for the club. It's going to cost them X amount to get to these places, and let's say I know Stade Francais and Montpellier are doing pretty good. I mean, they don't exactly get massive crowds, maybe 10,000. How you'd know more than me about this. So you're talking 2,000 tickets or whatever the value French rugby games are. So or even if it's the next one, it'll be 30%. So and that's got to cover your travel and absolutely everything. We're losing money to play in this competition, which is in the knockouts of this competition, because we're not at home. That is the reality where we are, and I would rather us finish 6th. I would rather us just basically play the junior academy at this point. I'm only saying that because Cameron Lega-Jones could still play for the junior academy. He could have played on the under-18s this weekend. Instead, he was playing for the Scarlets for 10 seconds.
With that in mind, who would you actually pick to go out and play?
All right, let's, instead of trying to be strategic about this, let's just try and pick the Scarlets' best team right now.
I mean, it's all subjective, really.
Yes, but that's why we have a podcast to have our opinion, Martin.
Do we change the pack at all? Do we change the starting 8?
Minus ahead of Elias for me.
Is Sammy fit?
Actually,
he won't be.
And he won't be in the pack either.
They're talking about him not being ready before the Six Nations, right?
Ulster, I think, is the hope, but that'd be Russian. But,
it's too
easy. That's a Scarlet's ready to play.
What? It's held together by sticky tape.
Yeah.
So I'm going Kems. I'm going Marnus.
Henry.
I'd
stick with Elias.
He loves playing English teams.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd stick the same front row. I thought Elias was, he was really good on the weekend. Okay, I'll line out. It worked well, but it was really predictable. I think Tane was at the front for like 90% of them in this game.
Like 15, yeah.
Who is our best second row at the moment? I mean, who's our best combination?
Max Douglas and Jake Ball, I think, would be a good shout.
Is Douglas not still out though?
He's man.
Now, isn't he? Yeah.
He's got tackle school.
He's done his school. Yeah.
Yeah. He got his AS level in tackling. Good.
So that means we could have Sam Lousy on the bench instead of Jack Price, or we could have both of them on the bench.
So who's your bench props?
This is because
don't say Josh Morse.
I want to say Josh Morse. I want to say Josh Morse. Best is obviously Alec Hepburn, But I thought Morsey
Alec,
has done really
Hepburn,
well.
Marnus, and
Harry.
Hawk.
Hogg, not Holtz.
It is a toss-up.
Holtz
between
is
the
still
two of
out,
them.
no? I think he's still injured with
Yeah.
whatever injury he has.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Lousy on the bench, Ball and Max, and then same back row as last week.
I love
Yeah.
Ball and Max.
Is Ball not injured though?
No, he
Is
had a
that-
nosebleed.
Oh, is it?
I think they just
Okay.
couldn't. They couldn't stop it. Yeah, they had to take him off.
Because he was holding his arm, which I was a bit concerned about.
Well, the cut
Yeah.
was in his arm, and it was going all. It was backing all the way up to his nose.
Ah, right.
That was, one of those nasty ones,
Cool.
Yeah.
No.
That is a nasty.
He was like, "It's not my blood." They were like,
It's coming out of your face.
So, all right, same back row as last week. Who's on the bench? Jared Taylor for the back row.
I'd prefer Jared Taylor
Yeah.
personally.
And then we start in Archie with Cowder on the bench.
Sounds good.
Are we going 5-3?
Ooh, don't have to if you don't want to.
Because
it
Carwyn Leggett
depends.
Jones isn't going to get any time off anyway. So why would you not go 6-2 with Dane and Max?
Well,
Who's covering 10?
Eddie James.
Eddie.
That's a
Johan
bold
Ivan if
strategy,
you're using
Cotton.
that.
It's Eddie James, or it doesn't
Blair.
matter who's covering 10 because even if Hawkins goes off injured, Carwyn Leggett Jones isn't coming on until the last 10 seconds of the game.
You and Nicholas being 10 before that.
Maybe that's his calling.
No.
No.
I'll be honest. If we are talking about our strongest team going forward, surely Karen Leggett Jones has to be the starting 10 because he is our only 10.
Right. Okay. So
Logic.
This is becoming more of a political statement than a team sheet. This is
Joe Roberts might be out. So if Joe Roberts is out, we hoping
Max.
Johnny Williams is fit. Are we going Carwyn Leggett Jones at 10, EJ 13? Are we going
Eddie
Max
stays at 12
Page?
for me. Eddie's-
Ooh,
Maxie being on the bench.
wait. If Roberts is out of the game, that's actually could we genuinely get Carwyn Leggett Jones 10, Hawkins 12, EJ 13?
I mean,
Wouldn't hate it. Would probably
it's-
work a bit better.
it's possible, but I'd rather keep Eddie as a 12. I do think that is his best position. And Max he's done we've called for Max to start more games. So if we're saying Roberts is out, I think we have to go for Max to start
But then Hawkins is definitely going to be 10.
on the bench.
I just don't imagine him being anywhere other than at 10 or 12,
No, I know.
Okay. And
realistically.
then you go the full Wales back three. You're taking Blair out.
He needs match fitness ready for the week after, because
It's
he'll still be in for Ulster. Because that's the thing; it's the week after when he'll be with Wales.
You give him a week off.
No, I think he needs the match fitness. I think that's the issue.
I don't think it's match fitness. I think it's fitness. I think he's like not healed.
But also, is Tommy Freeman fit? Probably, right? That's not a air I don't want to see that competition in the air. I don't want to see Tommy Freeman jumping against Blair Murray.
Will Northampton go full strength though?
I think they will.
They will because they want to get home in the
Mhm.
knockouts now, or at least as close to it as they can get. We're in. Sorry, Matt. We're in try and avoid blowout territory, I think.
Oh, there's never going to be a blowout with Scarlets. It doesn't happen.
That's the spirit.
So, do we have a conclusion on the back three? Tommy, Ellis, and Tommy. Ellis, and Jack. Tommy, Ellis, and Max.
Murray doesn't look fit. Tom, me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to tom you, but I'll give it a go. Yeah, that works.
It's a shame we don't have the shorts clips for this week, eh?
Do we not?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think we've been demoted.
Oh,
No. That's because you were missing last week. It's all about New John.
not funny enough. That's the problem.
That's because I wasn't here wearing my skimpy outfits.
You're not wearing it this week either. You were supposed to wear the scarf and nothing else. Get it right.
Next week.
next week.
Anyway, so long story short, I think we've solved all of those problems.
What was our
Onwards
bench?
and upwards.
I've forgotten already.
Bench is Cowdor, and because Cowdor can play on the wing, and
Yeah, if Max is starting, probably Johan Nicholas.
Yeah.
no, we kind of we've gone wrong somewhere.
Then Blair.
We did say if it was an injury, Joe Nicholas could be on the bench, so that's
If
what it is.
Roberts
he's
is an
fit,
injury.
Johnny Williams.
Exactly. Joe Roberts is injured, and Joey Williams is injured.
I mean, how about Gabe McDonald instead?
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
genuine.
Gabe.
Yep.
Here we go. One buddy port boy out, one buddy port boy in. Happy days.
Oh, I didn't know he was from Buryport. I don't like him now.
Where you're from, Kidwell, you don't like anyone.
That is true.
Let's be honest.
That is true. We don't really get on with anyone around us. They put the bypass in to avoid us on purpose. Like,
let's be honest. There's a reason the castle is still there. You stay in there, you block everyone out.
and we're bloody good at it too.
Well, don't know your history very well, then, do you? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is
Couldn't
that
stop a
everything?
plague. Yeah.
Oh. What is that? All right. Do we have anything else to do we need to sing happy birthday to Pringle? Because he is a birthday
No.
Pringle.
No need for that. Can we do predictions instead?
Pembroke
We've done the
Happy,
predictions.
Not score predictions.
Pembroke
Happy
Happy Pringle.
Pembroke Happy
Happy CT.
Yay!
The
28. He's 28 today, boys. So
I
he's
bloody wish.
not looking to stay over 21.
No, I don't feel that. Past
You're
my
all ready
bedtime,
for
boys.
your holiday to Las Vegas. You can have a beer there now.
Right, Scarlet's by 2.
Oh.
You've been told about this.
I answer to
New
no man.
score sheet. I'm no man. I'm a god.
This game has draw written all over it.
Oh, draw. Nice. Scarlet by 1.
Okay. Draw. Scarlets by 1. Scarlets by 2. Scarlets by 3. Let's go for a roll.
Oh.
Gosh,
So
it's
basically-
great when a draw is the most pessimistic option. It's about as low as I thought it could
There's
go.
a
And
draw
get out
up
of
to the
here.
80th minute. We get penalty. 3 points. Then.
I'll count that as a draw.
Yeah, that works.
Well, at 80 minutes, yeah. I mean, when you bet, you got to bet the 80 minutes, and not the overtime. So.
Well, all right then, lads. It seems that everything is done and dusted for this week. So, for everyone listening or watching or however you're
Congratulations.
consuming this,
You
more
made
than
it.
congratulations. So, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do your thing. Hype did probably still done. See what that is.
What that
but
does.
yeah.
Just
You
leave
know-
a comment that just says hype. That's probably
and-
the most effective way of hyping.
And also, if you are listening to this, obviously you're quite used to HG Rugby's voice. He needs a few more views on some of his content. So if you wouldn't mind slipping over there, just stick a video on in the background. You can mute it if you want. Just let it run.
Mute it, watch it on double speed. I don't care, just watch it.
He needs his views, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you, boys, for joining me. I'm thinking we're going to just have regular Pringle next week. Yeah? Not birthday Pringle? Do we get 2 Pringles in a row?
It depends how I feel after we get in Northampton, mate.
Okay, but we're definitely going to have some type of Pringle because apparently they are Investec Pringles and they are
it might
making an
be-
appearance next week, all right?
Yeah. If he was there, you can get it
Yeah.
from us.
Okay.
And
All
as
right,
you
then.
were.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you, John. You haven't spoken in this last bit. And goodbye to peoples. We'll see you next week and celebrate a lovely win over some English scum. Love you.
Lost her.